Hey guys, Josh here with Weddings in Roanoke. I hope that you're doing well today. Well, it's March 28th, and that means tomorrow is March 29th. It's also the NRV Bridal Brunch. It's going to be held over at the Inn at Virginia Tech. I highly encourage you to go over there tomorrow. You can meet me and a whole bunch of other people out there. We're going to have all kinds of great food for you guys to sample. We'll have a bunch of prizes to give away and that sort of thing. But really what I wanted to talk to you about is what kinds of things that you can expect when you come to these kinds of shows. If you come to this bridal show or any other bridal show, this is what you can expect. There's going to be several vendors at this show that will be able to provide you anything from flowers to photography to wedding videography as well. So I'm going to give you a little advice. Brides like to come into these booths and they come to these bridal shows and they basically don't ask anything. Well, today I'm going to give you a couple of questions that you should be asking vendors like myself. That way you'll have better information and you'll be totally prepared when you come to meet with us. The most important question that I highly suggest that you ask is, do you have my date available? Now, this translates into a couple of things. Number one, it translates into not only a date, but it also suggests that you have a wedding venue. Now, one of the things that I get a lot of is I get brides that come into my booth and they don't have a clue what to ask. Well, having the date is the very first thing that I should ask. You certainly don't want to waste your time talking to me if I have 2 or 3 weddings on that particular date, for example. So it's one of the very first questions that I highly recommend that you ask. Another question that I recommend that you ask is, what sort of training does the individual have or the company have? So for example, I'm a videographer and I have almost 20 years of experience working in radio, television, and Hollywood. Everything from TV commercials to past wedding videos, infomercials, business, corporate videos, you name it. So it's those kinds of things that you want to ask about. A florist, for example, might have specific training in a particular certification or an industry, or maybe a top vendor in the area that they studied under. So it's something that you definitely want to pick up on. If you get the answer of, well, I'm just kind of doing it for fun, or I kind of taught myself, I'd be a little leery about that. You definitely want to have somebody that's going to have some experience under their belt. Have you ever worked at my location before? It helps if you have photos, or in my case, video samples that I can actually show brides. Yeah, I've worked at that venue before. Let me show a video and see what you think. It's a great way to actually be able to see if that person's worked there before and what sort of working relationship they have with the venue. So one final question that I recommend that you ask is, who were your last clients and how did they meet? Well, I'm not talking about how did they meet me, but how did they meet each other? Here's what I mean. If I can answer that question for you, or at least kind of summarize it for you, it will show that someone like me has an actual interest in the person or the client instead of just trying to take your money. It's something that's going to show them some personality behind who you are, more the emotional side and not so much the business side. But it will also show that it's a vendor that will care about you. Well, there you have it. A couple of great questions that you should ask wedding vendors here in the Roanoke Valley for, the NRV Bridal Brunch, the LGBT show that's coming up next month, or the wedding crawl that's going to happen here in downtown Roanoke. Be sure to check out my blog and all the other great entries that I have filled with tips, tricks, and other information for you. Until then, we'll talk to you soon.